You're listening to Life Check Yourself with life coach, transformational leader, and dating and relationship badass, Marni Battista. Every week, you'll get the raw truth from top experts and real people on the important life and love issues you want to know about. So if you're ready to life check yourself in your relationships, your career, and the areas of your life that matter most to you, and you're not afraid to be called out on your stuff, then you're ready for what's next.
Life Check Yourself with Kloey and Rayna Battista. Is it a red flag, or are you just being picky?
Ladies, oh my goodness gracious. I am super excited to have you listening today because it is a really good show, really powerful, amazing women talking to you about the things that we can learn from that crazy ass show, Love Island, about dating like a grown-ass woman. And so our man panelist, Mr. Chris Gillis, happens to be on vacation right now with Dr. Emily, floating through Finland, I believe, as we speak. And I was like, we have to have the show. So I thought it was a perfect time to introduce you officially to two women who have been hearing about dating with dignity most of their entire lives. And that is Kloey and Rayna Battista, who are my oldest and middle daughters. And Rayna, you may have heard her on some other shows. She often goes by the handle Reality Rayna around Life Check Yourself. And I talk about them all the time when I give examples. And they are big fans of Love Island. And we are constantly talking about how do you date with dignity and how you don't. So ladies, welcome to the show officially.
Hello, hello. So happy to be here.
Thank you. So excited to be here as well.
Yay. Okay. So, I talk a lot about my why I decided to put my own head under my ass and kind of date with dignity. And I remember that moment when I decided that, and it was for my kids. I was like, if I can't get my shit together for me, I have to get it together for my children, which means that they were pretty young when I got into personal development and ultimately became a coach. So I thought we just start off before we talk about Love Island. What are the first memories? Because people always ask, what was it like for your daughters to grow up with you as their mom? So I'm just curious, what's the one thing each of you remember, like a first memory of oh my God, my mom is a coach? Ray?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind for me is the quote, "Nobody can make you feel anything," which often was said during an argument or fight between sisters and became kind of the catchphrase of Marni Battista. Really just meaning that, why do things make you feel a certain way? Like really looking inwards instead of, you're making me, I feel you're making me mad or whatever. But why do you feel that really, So that's
oh my God. But it was so, I remember I would say that to you and you'd be like, and don't tell me I get it. You would be so annoyed. But it did sink in.
It really did.
Chloe, what about you?
I think one of my earliest memories was you coming back from a trip and sharing us this quote you found. And I think it stuck with all of us forever. And it is, don't let your biggest fear get in the way of your biggest dream, even if your biggest dream is your biggest fear. And I feel like that's been a guiding principle in all of our lives. And ever since you saw that quote on the wall and printed out the photo, I really do live by those words. So
which is why I love that, which is why you guys they said, I will be on the show. It's a little nerve wracking, but we'll do it together. So I really appreciate it because you are both really super wise, and Chloe's currently out there single and dating. Rayna's been in a relationship. Is it 3 years now, Ray?
Yeah, just about 3 years.
That's amazing. All right. So we're going to talk about Love Island. It's been crazy. So if you don't watch the show, if you're watching it on Hulu, there's a plot twist in the middle of the 8 weeks. And basically what happens is that everybody's coupled up And they send the women off to another villa, and they bring in a whole nother set of guys. And back at the main villa, the guys are sent a whole another set of women. And the premise is, are they committed, or are they actually open, and will their heads be turned? And it caused a shit ton of drama, and a lot of really, really good lessons. So I think what I want to start with, first of all, is there's a couple, Tasha and Andrew. Chris and I talked about them in the last episode. They were paired together initially, right? So they've been together for 4 weeks. Let's fast forward dating. They're together 24/7. And Andrew is like all over Tasha, but he's trying to be chill. And he's like, okay, well, if you're interested in someone else, like, if we're meant to be, it'll be. And Tasha continues to sort of, always be interested. And it seems to me that she's having one-on-one conversations and telling Andrew, like, no, you're my person. My eyes are only on you. And then she will go and have these other conversations and be like, no, I'm totally open and interested in getting to know you. And I wonder what you both thought about that as it pertains to like dating in real life. Everyone is on apps, everyone's swiping, dating multiple people. Do you think that Tasha is handling it right? Like, is she dating with dignity and being open, or is she kind of actually manipulating Andrew? What do you think, ladies? Chloe, what do you think?
I think in the grand scheme of things, your actions and your words have to match up. And I think that's the most important thing. So I think for Tasha, I feel like to some degree her actions and her words did match up. Yeah, I don't know. Rayna, what do you think?
I think it's tricky because in the villa, they all are in these couples. It's such a high pressure environment. And there's all these feelings like you need to be loyal and stay with the person you're coupled up with. But when you think about the real world and dating apps or just dating in general, you're often dating multiple people and seeing how you feel about them and kind of exploring different relationships until you find someone you really, really connect with. So I definitely think there was a bit of a double standard presented in these last few episodes where, Tasha's been kind of getting to know people as they came in. And then Andrew was very, very quick to get to know someone in Casa Amor, and didn't really see that same kind of like slack back from the rest of the people. So I thought that was interesting. And I think in general, maybe Tasha's just not that into him. I think she definitely likes him, but it comes to a point where, you should really feel that spark and connection. I think they've been in there for like four weeks or more.
4 or 5 weeks. Yeah.
Every single day. I feel like part of me, if she doesn't know, then maybe it's not a good match.
Well, here's my question is she is accused of sort of like not being direct with him, and that the women that come into Casa Amor are telling Andrew, like, this woman's not into you. She's dating other people. She's kind of telling you two different things. And then he gets really angry and he revenge dates. Like in reality, it's like, he probably would have slept with Coco if it weren't TV, is my guess. Because, he did lick a tit or whatever. If you don't watch the show, you need to watch it just for that moment where he's explaining to his girlfriend that he did have some breast fondling, licking, downplaying it dramatically. But but when Andrew comes in and those girls are like, oh, like you're totally being screwed over. And then he does that revenge thing. Do you think that those girls were right, or were they just trying to get him to be interested in them?
I think they were just trying to get him to be interested in him. I think they were trying to open up a door that was otherwise closed. And I think they clearly struck a chord with him. He's been saying how insecure he was about that. And they really just knew where to land the dagger, so to speak.
Yeah, I think.
Yes.
I think they honestly were gaslighting him to some extent. And I think he kind of, fell into the trap.
I think he did. Now, let me ask you this, because so in reality, like when you're out there and you're dating multiple people, I think it's okay to be dating multiple people, and I think you don't really need to like tell someone that unless they ask you, right? Like, I'm interested in being exclusive with you, and then you have to say, well, I really like you, or, you're my front runner, or, I just want you to know, like, I'm not ready to make that commitment. I'm dating multiple people. So then when they come back from Casa and Andrew is with someone else, and they're not exclusive, did Andrew do the wrong thing? And do you think Tasha did the right thing to forgive him? And by the way, he's not the only guy that did this in Casa, right? Like there were multiple guys that were dating someone else, not exclusive, but dating someone else, and went out with other people and kissed them and did what other things. So, and then the girls come back and they're all pissed off. So the question to me is, if that happens, do you think these women made a mistake in taking them back? Do you think you should have rules like if he does something else then I'm not taking him back? Like, do you think they did the right thing? And do the guys make their story or case believable, or is that just how it is in dating? You need to be flexible and open and really listen to people.
I think for Tasha and Andrew, he admitted fully that he did it out of anger. He kind of did it to get back at her, almost as like a revenge situation. Like, if, you made out with someone else, I'm going to do it too, which for me gives very immature, insecure vibe. I think that's more of a character showing moment than even like him picking someone else, is the fact that he did it out of anger, which for me would be a red flag, and raises some questions to Tasha going back with him versus a Dommy situation where he genuinely connected with the girl. He was saying he was super into her, and there's validity to that. But then when you're thinking about, should India go back with him? That's kind of like a deeper level. Like he did find a connection with someone. It wasn't out of anger. It wasn't just to do it. Like he really felt those feelings. And then there's also the situation of like a Davide or a Jacques. They made out with other people. They flirted with other people, but they stayed loyal. So, where's that line and what's the quote unquote right thing to do?
What do you think? I mean, do you think they did the right thing, Kloey? Like, do you think that the guys did the right thing by exploring? Do you think the girls did the right thing by, being open to getting back together with them?
Yeah, I mean, I think the word exploring, is very subjective. I think I think exploring could also just be having conversations, flirting, and getting to know people. And I don't think it necessarily needs to cross that line of more physical intimacy. And I think to me, if I thought that I was in a strong couple with someone, like Gemma and Luca, for example, who stayed loyal to each other, I would kind of expect my partner to do the same. For the men that, may have crossed the line, made out with other girls, licked a tit or whatever, I think the parameters of the show come into play as well, because they know that they're going to still be with this person, their partner who they were with in the villa for X amount of time. So they know they're going to have an opportunity to spend time with them, pull them for a chat, ask for forgiveness. When I think in the real world, in society, if that happened, I don't know if I would be as generous and as forgiving as some of these girls were. And I think a lot of it is circumstantial to the show.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point, because there are so many women who are listening who have that off and on again connection with somebody who there has been infidelities or lack of trust, or they break up or they get back together. And I think that Paige and Jacques are such an interesting story because she will go off camera or go on camera on the one-on-ones and she'll be like, I'm not training a man. Like, I'm not going to put up with this shit. And then she talks about this chemistry and connection that they have. And there's constantly women are in that thing of like, I have this thing with this person, but also there's some things that, don't work for me. And I don't think there is a fine answer. I don't have the answer, audience people. I wish I did have an exact rule that I could give you. But like, do you think that in Paige and Jacques' case, like is Paige, is that chemistry and connection in the way of her actually having a healthier relationship, or is Jacques, worth fighting for? Is that like when you meet someone and especially, they're working on themselves or they're aware of their problems and they're trying to sort it out? Like, do you give that person the benefit of the doubt? I mean, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think, there's a difference between having chemistry and attraction and the kind of more tactical elements of dating someone and picking up on like red, or as I like to say, like yellow flags, where you're just like, oh, let me stop and think about this. And I honestly feel like Jacques showed a lot of yellow and red flags. And I feel like he honestly started to manipulate Paige and, read an essay off her phone, which is just something he thought she wanted to hear, which goes back again to my earlier point where like actions do speak louder than words. And the fact that Jacques just left the villa without genuinely fighting for Paige and seeing if their relationship would work out was like the ultimate red flag to me. And before he left, had the audacity to say, I'll be waiting for you at the airport, which was extremely concerning to me.
Like you're going to be... so funny. I had a totally different reaction.
I was like, you shouldn't be waiting for me at the airport. You should be staying here if you want to build this connection.
Yeah, I agree with
Chloe. Really? Say more, right?
Hot take.
I think his actions could have been recoverable. We saw it last season with Liam and Millie. Like, he made up for it. He dated a year. Like, I think he could have came back from that if their connection and his actions were better. But for me, the way he reacted, the way he immediately went on the defense, almost making it feel like it was like her fault. He was like, at the end of the day, it's up to you. And like, didn't apologize or say anything to me. I would be like, okay, bye. If you're not going to fight for me, if you're not going to apologize even, then see you later. I think because they are in there with each other 24/7 and, he ended up grafting a little bit. I thought his note was vulnerable and kind, but kind of too little too late. And it just didn't feel genuine. And then him leaving and saying, he was like, I do, insinuating almost that he was like trying to tell her he loved her. That was how I took it.
And I did too, but he was too scared.
Yeah. And he was like, I'll be waiting for you. Like, that's rude. That's disrespectful. Like, you're locking this girl up in her head, making her think that like you'll be there and she should wait for you. But in reality, you left. If you left, then why should she be staying and waiting for you? Like, crack on, as they say.
Well, do you think, so here's here's another take, and we don't know, we'll never know what's true. But the other possibility is that he realized when he was so rude to Billy on the daybed, when he went to go talk to Paige and he was like, fuck off, mate. He was just rude. That he realized he was out of control of his emotions and that he never really let himself like someone, be vulnerable, and that he was a hot mess. And that he knew that if he so this is the pro Jacques version, is that he really does love her, but he's a child and he doesn't really know how to express that and he can't manage his emotions. And so he's like, I need to remove myself because I'm just a big dick right now. and I need to go sort myself out. And you do what you got to do. And I want to be your girlfriend or your boyfriend. If that works out, I'll still be here. We don't know what's true because I did tell you guys, and I don't know if anyone else saw this. Did you guys watch the Unseen Bits?
We did.
Okay. Did you see the scene? This literally gave me PTSD, girls. Jack is talking to Molly, I think, with the long blonde hair. And he's kind of flirting with her, but he's also kind of just being a douchey hot guy where he's like, I would never bring you coffee. Right. And he's like,
yes, he's a lad.
Yeah. And it literally gave me PTSD for every hot guy in my past that I talked to that treated me like that made me feel kind of shitty, but that I was like trying to get him to like me or wanted him to like me. Yes. Did you guys see that?
Yes. And I think that's his whole narrative, honestly, even with Paige, is he's constantly not really giving 100% of himself and kind of making the girls do the, grafting almost like, pick me, pick me. And I actually do agree with you in your pro Jacques statements. But at the end of the day, I think Paige, she's a good girl. She doesn't need to wait around for someone who's a hot mess. Like, I think he needed to leave. And I think that she shouldn't need to train her next boyfriend.
Yeah, I think we totally can give.
He is.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say I agree with that too. I mean, I think when people take the time to kind of share with the people that they care about that they need to step back and take care of themselves, that's a respectable thing to do as well. So we'll see what happens with that.
We'll see what happens with that. I think that. If he ever wants to be with her, him getting his shit together and taking a break is the best possible scenario. If he is not a lad, I mean, look, Jeremy was like, that guy's home tonight. He's got like 10,000 DMs of women that are like, I'll take you as you are, bro. Like, let's go out, So I think we'll really see what happens with Jacques. We could talk about Jacques literally the whole episode. Okay. Let's talk about, of this. I am dying to know what you guys think about Danica. Danica. She's super attractive. And I think this is like ladies who are listening. So many of my ladies, smart, super attractive, professional, talented, big-hearted, direct. She cannot create chemistry and connection with any damn guy in that villa. She can't get past the first date. For those of you who haven't been watching, there was Jay. She tried to talk to when she went to Casa Amor. There was Josh. That would be a solid, like, good 2-3 dates. Loses the chemistry, can't get past it. Now she's got Adam. Seemed like they had a good date, but Adam is like, oh, Paige is the one I want. She's wife material. Ladies, what advice would you give to Danica about like why she cannot land her man?
My thoughts on Danica. Oh man, that poor girl is shouldering so much rejection in this season. Gracefully. I mean, she's very straight up. She's very genuine. And I respect her for the way she's kind of going balls to the wall. And
she is. She backs herself.
She's not afraid, which is like a wonderful quality to like just go for it. I think what I've been seeing a lot on Twitter is, especially with the date she just went on with Adam, everyone's like, why does this seem like an interview? Like, she's kind of seems a little guarded. She's not fully allowing herself to feel that chemistry and connection. She's very like in herself in a way. So I think that interview aspect of that date was a little hard to watch, a little sad to see. And I think she was in a very, very long relationship and hasn't had enough time to process it. And maybe at the end of the day, maybe she's not ready for that deeper connection. Maybe she's still like licking her wounds from her last relationship. Chloe, what do you think?
Yeah, Chloe, what do you think about the whole interview thing and anything else you noticed about her?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with Rayna. I think bringing it out into the real world a bit too, into the dating world, I think it's just important and difficult to be vulnerable. And maybe it seems like she's, thinking ahead of what she wants to ask the person or topic she wants to cover in conversations, where I feel like there is more opportunity for her to let her guard down and be a little bit more not authentic, but live in the moment. And just, I think when you're vulnerable with someone, it encourages them naturally to let their guard down more a little bit. And I think a little bit more like vulnerability from her, and maybe just relating, conversations to her personal stories and stuff she's been through would help someone connect with her a little bit more.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Like, I feel like we don't know anything about her. Like,
yeah.
And
she seems great. Positive, optimistic, bubbly, charming, but let's be a little more vulnerable.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question, and you can choose not to answer it if you want to, but like, so you're going on first dates, right? Like, and you do want to get to know about somebody, like I think Adam did a great job. He's like, what would your great first date be? And, he's asking solid questions, but how do you navigate getting to know, like, what's your success story, or how do you navigate that fine line when you're going on those first or second dates of like collecting data, getting to know someone, but also trying to make, an actual connection and not being like, I'm interviewing you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think you can tell someone's interest by the amount of questions that you're being asked, but I think it's also important to be cognizant and aware. Am I asking this person genuine questions back, questions that I actually want to know the answer to? Or am I just, reading off of a textbook of first date questions to ask? Textbook, where are you from? Siblings, and those things, yes, of course, are important. But I think, trying to get a little bit deeper and open up without giving too much. I mean, we don't want to completely let our guard down, but I think being vulnerable and feeling confident in being vulnerable without being outcome based or caring about what the outcome is important. And I think it makes being vulnerable easier because you're doing it for yourself. Like, I'm opening up because I want to, and not because I want to get a reaction, from the person I'm talking to.
That's so great, because that's really the energy. And I think that Danica is sort of like, it's weird. Like, she doesn't have the pick me vibe. She comes across as confident, but it's more like, and I wish we could almost like do a play-by-play of all of her interactions with all of these guys. And she's probably like saying like, yeah, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone who's this. I'm looking for someone who's that. I want this. I want that. It's very much like, are you my person? That rather than, let me connect with you. Let me get to really know you. And it's really interesting, because when you put that next to like a Paige, which everyone is like, every guy comes in there wants Paige, and she's not like the sexiest dressed, or, has the flashy makeup, or, like the biggest boobs, or she's not like the bombshell vibe, right? She's more of like, I'm attractive, I'm fun, I'm funny, like, here's who I am, let me get to know you. And I think that men are really attracted to that, rather than the like, you want to sleep with me vibe, which I think Danica does put a little bit of that vibe across too, in her clothes, and, like really leading with like, don't you think I'm sexy?
Mm-hmm. I think it also poses the question, like, what's the best, quote unquote, best time period until you realize that you maybe don't have that spark with someone? Because she has all these different relationships with Josh, for example, in Casa Amor, and it seems like it's going good, and then the spark kind of just fizzles out. Like, how long should you try to kind of make something work until you realize this might just not be it for me?
Yeah, I think, I'm all about the 3-date rule, like at least go out on 3 dates. What's crazy about Danica is that I can think of a few times where the guy has been like, I really like you, but I'm not that into you. And she's like, are you sure? Like, I'm in it. Like, I'll keep doing this. Like, and they're like, no, like, I'm telling you. And she's like, yeah, well, I'm da da da. And I think that that's also a little bit of that, like, she's just trying to find someone to fit into her slot, into the role. And she's not hearing that for some reason. And so if I were going to coach her, I would kind of add those things up, like a little masculine energy, a little guarded, a little like, I'll like anyone who likes me. Are you sure you don't like me? Do you want more time to like me? And I think that it's kind of a turn off. And so I think, Rayna, you're right. Like, I think she's young and she had one relationship. And I think she could probably look at what I always say, like, what's the common denominator? There's all these guys, they're interested in you, but then they lose interest. So I think you need to kind of take some responsibility. All right. Last thing. If you were going to have one hot take of like something that you have learned about dating, or ladies can learn about dating from what we've seen so far, the first 5 weeks of Love Island, what would it be?
I think for me, very much in the like vein of what we talked about today, the whole like, it's not necessary, it doesn't have to be what you do, but a lot of it is how you react to it. And kind of just like the maturity level. I think those subtleties in how someone kind of like handles your emotions and like responding to you is a really important aspect of a relationship, and someone who's like emotionally intelligent.
I think that's amazing. And I think some people come factory installed with that. And then some men, like, if you just say, this is what I need, and then they respond, that's okay. Like, I think what Jacques said was like, she said, like, don't be an asshole, basically. And then what does he do? He's an asshole. And he's like, oh my God, I can't control myself. Like, I'm going to screw this up. And so what we're looking for is like progression, listening, being able to adapt and meet your needs. And I think I always say it's what happens between the dates, like in the communication between or around things, that will really show a person like who they really are, because anyone can take you out and have a good chat and be handsome and say all the right things, but it's how do they handle conflict? That's really important. Kloey, what about for you? What's your big lesson people can take from what we've seen so far?
I think one of them is that if you can get clear on what you want and what you're looking for and communicate that actually is very attractive. And I think that's a great kind of practice to try and embody. And then the other aspect, I think, is that similar to Rayna's point, you want to kind of take in how people are, the person you're dating is actually interacting with their friends, with other people. How does the guy I'm dating, how is he interacting with the waiter or waitress at the restaurant? Yep. Is he holding the door open for the elderly person who's right next to us? And to me, those little micro moments actually say so much more when you're out in the real world about how a person is. And yes, I think it's important, obviously, how does this person treat me? But what's almost as important in my mind is how does this person treat a stranger that they don't know? And I think that's something that, it's really important to be aware of. And I feel like in those micro moments, you can learn so much about who a person truly is when they're not trying to, quote unquote, be performative on a date.
That's so true. And I want to just highlight what you said too about being clear, because the only couple, and this season of Love Island is a little different in that there's like really one couple. I mean, usually there's way more than one, but like it's Gemma and Luca, which is so crazy because she's young. She's like 19, but weirdly the most emotionally intelligent, like you ladies. But part of the reason why I think that relationship is working is from the beginning, clear. I like you. I only want to be with you. I'm not interested in getting to know anyone else. What about you? This is what I want. Are you ready for this? You'd think they'd be like, they must not let them talk about it or something. I don't know. But But, really, really making it clear about what you're looking for, what you want, and that your words and actions line up to that and that you're consistent. And I think that is a really, really important piece and what ultimately is really, really attractive. Ladies, how was your first guesting on Life Check Yourself? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
So great.
An honor and a privilege every time.
Agreed. Hopefully, I get invited back.
Of course.
No, it's been really fun. And just thinking about how this crazy reality TV show actually relates to real life and people trying to navigate dating, which is something I'm going through right now.
Exactly. I really appreciate all of your insights. And I think the last thing I want to say is that I just got off the phone with someone who's like almost 70, who listens to the show and talking about work together. And like, I just like, it would be helpful for me, to like talk to other women that are younger, that are 30, 40, 50 or whatever, that are going through this process. And what I'm constantly not surprised by is it does not matter whether you are 20, 24, 34, 44, 64, 74, whatever it is. These challenges, these insecurities, these how do I navigate dating multiple, these are all universal challenges that men and women go through, and they are ageless and they are timeless. And so I really, really appreciate both of your feedback. And we look forward to having you back soon. And in the meantime, ladies, as you know, it's your life. So damn, check yourself. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Woo!
Hey, thanks for tuning into today's show. So if being in an intimate relationship in which you feel 100% seen, heard, and accepted by a high caliber man is a priority for you right now, and you're interested in seeing if you're a fit for working with me and my team at Dating with Dignity, here's what I want you to do. Just head over to DWD VIP, that's D as in dating, W, D as in dating, VIP.com, and book a call to speak with my team. We'll get on the phone with you for about 60 minutes, and you'll get crystal clear on what's stopping you from finding true love right now. We'll also take a look at what you want to create, what you want your whole life to look like when you're able to finally be fully expressed as a woman in a healthy relationship with an incredible guy. And if we can help you get from where you are right now to where you want to be, we will show you the fastest path possible that makes sense for you to do that. We help smart, successful women all over the world solve this one missing piece in their life so they can finally have it all. So to see if we can help you do the same thing, head over to DWDVIP.com. I'm Marni Battista, and let's talk soon.